Good afternoon, class. My name is Octavian, and this is episode 1 of Shoutcasting class. I'll be your professor today. Please take your seats. Today we will be starting at the most appropriate starting point, the beginning. We'll be going over the very basics of shoutcasting, specifically focused towards League of Legends, since that is my game of expertise. But a lot of the things I'll be going over both here and in future episodes have relevance to nearly any game you could find yourself casting. Perhaps some watching this video aren't even aware of what shoutcasting is. Well then, in brief, shoutcasting is essentially esports commentary. The role that a shoutcaster plays is one of showmanship, getting the audience engaged in the action, getting the viewer invested and interested in what's going on screen, without getting in the way of it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get to the basics first. There are essentially 3 kinds of shoutcasting. There's solo casting and duo casting. And within duo casting, there are the 2 roles most people think of when they think of a shoutcaster: the color commentator and the play-by-play. Now, I'll hop into explaining what exactly color and play-by-play are and then get on to solo casting, since solo casting is in many ways based off of the dual roles of duo casting. The job of a play-by-play caster is simple in concept, but often tricky in execution. A play-by-play caster's job is, at its root, to describe action as it happens. Many games are quite complicated to view, especially something like League of Legends, with 10 players on screen during some fights, ultimates flying every which way, and sometimes just one skill shot or positioning error being the linchpin of a teamfight. It can be easy for a viewer to miss something which might have been very important. The play-by-play caster's job, then, is to recognize the important events as they unfold, direct the viewer's attention to them, and most importantly, bring energy to them. This is one of the reasons why so many casters will tell you that it's nearly impossible to cast a game you don't yourself love. Bringing the kind of hype and energy that a play-by-play guy brings every single game is impossible unless it's genuine. Now, since no game is a constant stream of battle and action, and because hyping every second of a match would paradoxically quickly grow dull, shoutcasting evolved the second role in the duality, the color caster. A color caster's job is to fill the spaces between fights with interesting tidbits of information, well put together analysis, and in-depth game knowledge. The best color casters make the viewer feel like they understood why something happened, whereas the best play-by-play casters make the viewer understand how. To do color casting will require study, a mind for analysis, and a joy in strategy, as well as a lot of prep. That's not to say that play-by-play shouldn't also spend time preparing for a shoutcast by reading up on teams, getting basic background info, the like. But a color caster needs something interesting to talk about at any given point, and when the game is stuck in a doldrum, it's incredibly helpful to have some pre-prepared information to tide you over to the next team fight. Finally, there's solo casting. Solo casting is something of an art, and it's an incredibly difficult one to master. It's a unique blending of both play-by-play and color commentary, and in my experience, I found the hardest part of it is not what one might think, coming up with things to talk about for half an hour or more, but rather the opposite. Oddly enough, it's difficult to keep yourself from speaking too much. It's a mistake that I still make sometimes, and I often see newer casters fall prey to. In solo casting, talking too much can overload the viewer with your solitary voice. However nice you might think your voice is, it's always possible to have too much. And while you obviously don't want any awkward silences, strategically placed empty air can actually be very helpful, allowing for a sense of pacing as well as giving the audience a chance to take in what you're saying. Many of you just thinking of starting casting might have to start here, since finding someone to jump into a duo cast with can be difficult early on. Solo casting can be a great experience, but my best advice is to find others to practice with as soon as possible, and figure out which of the 2 roles you best gel with. Now, there's a lot of things I touched on here that deserve more explanation. Hell, nearly every sentence and point I hit could use an episode unto itself. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to tell me so with a comment or like, and I'll go on to explain more and more about this wonderful skill as the lessons continue. For now, I'm Octavian, thank you for watching, I'll be seeing you next time.